gotta do this sometimes, man.
I know.
You're living in this skyrise apartment, making hundreds of thousands of dollars, countless money. Gotta keep you humble.
Yeah.
We just climbed. We did a little stair gang action. We did this in college. Mm-hmm. But we lived in the 4th floor. He lives on the 56th. So we went down, got a couple drinks. Let's podcast, baby.
Yeah. All by foot. Well, what do you think of that?
Tastes like flavored water, but it's $10.
Yeah, the second part is we did drop $10 on that.
That is a fancy community tower market that he has in his basement of his the 56th floor building he lives in, or whatever it is. This is so strange.
Dude, I can't talk, I'm out of breath. But sad part is that it took me 7 months to do that. 7 months of living here. Till I went down on the stairs and went up on the stairs.
And that's the Kalen Yeager effect, folks.
Yeah.
You know, man, I knew it was going to be bad. I knew you were going to be stuck in a little bit of the luxury rut when I got valeted.
Oh, gosh.
My car got valeted just to, like, show up here. Look at the view. You get spoiled, man. You got to get back to your roots. It keeps you humble.
No, you're right. You're right.
Yes.
But in many ways, I never grew up.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. How do you keep yourself feeling young?
You don't care about what people think. Probably about 2 years ago, I stopped making decisions on, what would they think? It's more like, no, what do I want? What do I want?
Damn. So, this kid out of high school definitely wasn't the smartest kid, the best grades, had the most wealth or connections. I don't know, but he probably makes more money than anyone I know. And what are you, 22?
21.
21?
Yes, sir.
You can barely drink in a bar. And you're pulling the big ones, man. How you doing it? How did it happen out of high school?
I mean, I did a semester at COD. And I hated it. It felt like glorified high school.
Ugh. That's what I always feared from community college.
Yeah, that's what it is, because that's what it is. And I did it. I played the game a little. I was taking some business courses, technically majoring in marketing. But then I wanted to go do some business myself. That's what it came down to. I didn't want to learn about it. I didn't want to have a professor teach me something that has, 14 years ago did this one thing, and now he's been teaching. I wanted to get out there, make some mistakes and learn from them. And I think when you're young, you have to be risky. You have to take risks. Mm-hmm. When you're married, you have kids, you got a family, you got to pay the mortgage. That's not the best time to take risks. You don't want your family living on the street.
Yeah, for sure.
But when you got nothing holding you back, like now's the time. If you're between, I'd say 17 and 23, somewhere in there, go do something, man. Like try something where you're not guaranteed a paycheck even. I got lucky through a couple connections. I got my foot in the door to a solar company, which you actually had the ability to. You did a month or two?
Yeah, out in California.
Out in Cali, different market out there, same company, but I just wanted to try something, try talking to people, try sales, and I got lucky with it. I definitely got lucky. What
was your confidence level in yourself out of high school after being, just like an average kid, basically?
Yeah, because, my grades were nothing. I mean, I was a B- student, let's call it.
Okay.
I'd do just the minimum to get by. I had the same Spanish teacher for 4 years. Oh. Every year, I was finishing with a C or even a D, and every year she'd bring me back up to an 80. And
sweet talker.
Yeah, that was part of it. But I don't know. And then getting out of it, I did not want to be sitting in an office. I knew that for sure, for a fact. And I know that because never forget my middle school English or literacy days.
Yeah.
Where we'd have one period would be an hour and a half. And the whole time I'm staring at the clock. I still remember that. And that was just the worst form of torture for me ever. I couldn't do it. And I have a feeling that I would be in a similar mindset if I was in a cubicle for 8 hours.
Yeah.
Even if I liked what I was doing, even if the people were good. I mean, school, there were friends, it was people, it was fun, but I hated it.
Yeah.
I didn't like being stuck there.
I remember seeing you like every couple weeks. I just see this guy at some random like water hole with his rod and casting some like, AP Euro book in one hand, reel in the other.
Exactly. I had a fishing rod that would fold down. It was like a 7 or 8 foot rod, like a big fishing rod. Yeah. But it would collapse down to about this big. It's like a telescope. It comes back in. I kept it in my backpack like all of high school. I always had a fishing rod.
Oh man, dude.
And I don't know if you guys can see from the view from the buildings, but we're basically on Lake Michigan. The beach, whatever, Ohio Street Beach, I believe that is right there. We're right on the lake, and I need to be on the water.
Yeah.
I need to be on the water. I'm not a city person.
Yeah, you were telling me off pod that you never cross Lakeshore Drive, which is like, Lakeshore Drive is the road that goes next to the lake. His building, he's like the only building on the other side of it that's like near like the more naturey and then also the lake.
Yeah.
And he just doesn't cross because it's scary out there.
Scary out there, yeah. But I don't know. Big buildings, it's funny, I'm a hypocrite because I'm living in one now. Yeah. But the city life never amused me. I'm not the kind to go, I don't know, staying up late, partying, drinking. That's not me.
Did you ever have a phase with that you learned from, or it's just never an interest?
It's always been an interest. It's always been there. But I've always found things to avoid it with and found people to spend that time with that didn't have those interests. Some of which did have phases. Okay. And honestly have, mostly negative things to say from what I've heard about, just your overall work ethic even.
Sure. So you were kind of trying to avoid it because you think it was going to deteriorate?
Yeah, that's definitely part of it. That's a big part of it. I don't think that's the way God intended it for us to live, to be staying up every night, drinking, getting drunk, having sex. I definitely see the appeal, though. I'm a red-blooded human. I get the temptation, the desire, but luckily I do have people in my life that kind of align with my views there.
Sure, that's awesome. You got to have those people.
For sure.
So you leave high school, and then now what are we? 3.5 years later, we're here.
Yep.
How did this all happen here?
So I grew up being a golf caddy. So I'd be walking the golf course, carrying bags. I think from the start that got me really comfortable with holding a good conversation with
rich people.
With rich, and I was going to say adults, but especially, people with money, people that, don't want to, people that are too bougie to take a cart out golfing. And they want to walk the course, but they don't want to carry their bags, so they make me do it. Like there's not a lot of those people out there, but these are the richest. These are the richest of Glen Ellen, of Wheaton, Yeah. And so I got to talk to them, and I got to learn about business just from holding conversations with them and how the market works. I think that shaped my understanding of the world. It really gave me this view of the world not being a fair place. But you don't go whine about it, you go work on yourself. You find out what's not fair in the world, except that you won't change that. And you live as if it's not holding you back. And you do what's right. If you see someone in need, that's, I think one of the big reasons God has blessed me enough with what I have now is because I do try to be there for, especially financially when people need it. Even if it's overseas, family, friends, generosity does go a long, long way. And staying consistent with that, setting up monthly either donations or programs that you support. For me, that goes before I spend money on myself. And
Wow.
that is a big theme I've seen with wealthy people. Not all of them, but the majority of people that have money, do spread it around.
Gotcha.
That's what I've found to learn.
And do you think because they're spreading it around is why it kind of comes back?
I definitely think it's intertwined. Yeah, not directly necessarily, but
So some voodoo shit, or just
when you have,
or is it more like if you give to someone, you're gonna put them in a good mood and they'll be there when you need it?
not as much that, no.
Not as much that.
No. And the Bible talks a lot about that, about not, Jesus was pretty groundbreaking in the Bible to suggest that we should love our enemies, which everyone knows that a big message of the Bible is to love everyone, be kind, be nice. What is very counterintuitive is to love your enemies. Someone screws you over, you don't sit there with a grudge at them. You forgive them.
Interesting.
And I think that shifts your whole mindset. I think it shifts the way you function as a human. And I don't know if maybe it's God directly blessing you for that mindset, but I think that's a core part of it. And I would even go on to say that's exactly what Jesus did when he died on the cross. He didn't, we don't deserve to be forgiven. We've all strayed, rebelled, When we compare ourselves with other people, that's when, I'm a good person. You ask it. 99.9% of people think they're good people, right? If you ask them, because they make their own standards. That's why, in my opinion. You compare yourself to the worst of the worst, you're a pretty good dude. But yeah, a lot of my life has been shifted by this mindset of, God is the only one that's good. The Bible does explicitly state that there's no one good in the world, not one. God is good. And then we're the ones that fall short of his standard. But then he forgives us through his son dying on the cross.
When did you get into religion? Just as a kid or later?
So, Christian family for sure.
Okay.
Parents immigrated from Russia. They went to the only Baptist church, or really the only non-Orthodox church in all of Moscow. There was only one.
Wow.
And they grew up in that. And they did, raise us in those ways. But it didn't become real for me till high school, I'd say.
Okay.
That's when I started seeing myself have options. Do I go do that with those people, or do I do this with these people? And that's where it became real for me, for sure.
So you're kind of you've been deciding to take the moral path since you were 14, 15, 16, 17.
I'd say so, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say so.
And so because of the moral path you've chosen, you think God himself has blessed you with opportunity that you wouldn't otherwise.
Yeah, he's definitely not taken it away, for sure. He's given me those
Gotcha.
opportunities. I think he's opened doors, for sure, which at the end of the day does allow me to be more generous to people, even overseas.
You keep mentioning overseas. Family out in...
So it's not so much family. There's a couple organizations like Feed My Starving Children you may have heard of. There's a couple African people, even with my church and even on a personal level, I've come to know and just help support with their rent, with their food, that kind of stuff. And it definitely is a priority for me. It keeps me somewhat, I'm not the most humble person, I don't think, but it does keep me somewhat humble in that I see the needs of people, and I try that to be, kind of if say I work in sales, I don't get a consistent budget every month or a consistent income.
Yes.
So that goes first for me. Other people in need go before I feed myself, in a way.
Okay.
And I try to keep that consistent in my life.
So you leave high school, you're caddying, you're doing a little COD action, a little community college.
Yep.
And then how are you working on yourself through that time period to preparing you for this step?
There's a lot of luck involved, but a lot of talking to people. Like caddying really set me up for it. And then I worked for this one company where I just knocked on doors for this windows and siding company where it was just scheduling appointments. And I found out that we were being massively underpaid for the size of, I mean, to give you an example, I had a sale of around $40,000 for a house, which I didn't make myself. I scheduled the appointment to where the sales rep came out and sold it. And I got paid $100 for it.
Oh.
And literally, if it wasn't for me, they wouldn't have had that sale, because I'm the one that knocked on doors. The hardest part, I've worked a lot of, multiple different aspects of sales jobs. And I can say undoubtedly the hardest aspect is when you're face to face with people that aren't interested.
Yeah.
These are it's the same thing as cold calling, except when they cuss you out, it's at your face.
Yeah.
You're at their door.
How do you take that?
Oh, you have to learn to not take it personal from the start. From the very start. I remember the first time I made a sale at Sunrun that canceled on me. It was my second or third sale. And I felt horrible. I'm like, how could you guys do this to me? You signed a contract. Granted, there was a 10-day cancellation policy, but I didn't think they were going to take that. And I remember they started ghosting me. They wouldn't pick up my phone calls or texts. And so I drove 45 minutes to Elgin to knock on their door to see, why are you canceling? I thought we had something. And I knock on their door, and she opens the door, and she's like, yeah, we're not going to do it. I'm like, are you serious? She's like, yeah, bye. And closed the door on me. And she was somewhat polite about it. I can't even get mad at her. But I remember driving back home. I'm like, what the heck? I spent, a couple hours with them through paperwork, through getting their stuff approved. Their project had gone through our engineering team at that point. Like, Sunrun had actually put in money into this project. And when you work a commissions-based sales job, if it doesn't get on the roof, you're not getting paid. And so I learned from that day, that's the last time I felt bad about a canceled project.
Wow.
Or felt personally attacked, let's say. Now someone cancels, it's automatically, it's not me, there's something with the product. I'm going to see if I can save it. And if not, I'm going to go pour my energy into a new client,
So somehow you get into this job at Sunrun, which is one of the largest solar companies.
Literally the largest, yeah.
The largest solar company. And then you work your way up, and now explain what exactly you are doing now.
Yeah, so when I started, I was just standing in a store in Costco's scheduling appointments. That's all I was doing, is talking to people, scheduling appointments, and for real sales reps to come out and talk to them and give them the solar options and try to make the sale.
Yeah.
After 3 months of that is when I started being the guy. I got promoted, and I was the one that would go to people's houses now, which isn't a hard job, and it's easier than the store position, because now you're only talking to people that are interested.
Sure.
The store people weed them out, so to speak. Because for every 100 people that walk by, you did it for a little,
Yeah.
What, maybe one will stop out of 100?
Yeah, it's
not
demoralizing.
Yeah, it is brutal, so the way I see it, that was, in my mind, I knew that was a temporary job for me. I knew that was just excel at this for a few months and get promoted. And I started talking about a promotion when I was 1 month into it, literally. Sure. I wanted the managers to know that this is where I was going. And they just told me to hit my numbers, focus on myself, don't worry about what other people are doing, just keep growing. And that's what they wanted to see.
Sure. For me personally, I think what it came down to and why I was like, it just wasn't for me is, you have 1,000 interactions with a human in a day. When it's normally going around life and you're in the Midwest, you're getting like 700 good ones, right?
Or what do you mean?
So like, if you have 1,000 interactions in a day.
Oh, okay.
700 of them are good.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
In like a normal lifestyle.
Sure.
When you're going through 1,000 interactions in a day and you're working on the floor in a Costco, like 50 are good. And you start thinking that it's you, because what really got me is I would address these people, like greet them as I would greet any human, right?
Mm-hmm.
But because I'm wearing a logo on my shirt, they don't want anything of you. And then you start thinking like, does everyone do this? What kind of world? And you don't know where the hell we are, and you're alone in this Home Depot or whatever for 8 hours for weeks on end, and you're like, oh my God.
Yeah, nobody wants to talk to you. The same way that you don't want to talk to a sales rep. I get it.
Yeah, you don't.
I'm the same way, dude. Like in the store, if they're selling couches or something, I don't know what they'd be selling. Like, no, I don't even want to make eye contact with you.
And then just those little things, just when people avoid eye contact with you for like, 100 hours, man.
Oh, yeah.
Or 1,000 hours.
Uh-huh.
It just starts to be over and over. I think one of the things that really was like, I need to try to find, this is definitely a different path. It's definitely a better path, I think, than the traditional way to go about things if you end up, like you were saying, like in some cubicle. But I think for me, I need more creativity and like to really get something that's my passion. And this seems like it's pretty close to your passion in a way, and it really hits home to you. Where I think it's a little bit less so for me. And what really revealed it is, I think I was like 3 weeks in, and the first week goes great. You're like, dude, this is the best job ever, bro. And the second week, you're like, oh God. And the third week, you get into a little bit of a dip. And then at the end of that, I'm like, oh God, just getting through it kind of thing. And then we get a scheduled meeting, like kind of out of nowhere at like noon for like with our team on Zoom. Mm-hmm. And then my like manager guy, he comes and he tells us, he's like, starts it off all light, and he's talking about like basketball or something. Mm-hmm. And then he's guys, well, guys, I'm a bad liar. I got some news. One of our coworkers died yesterday.
Holy crap! You never told me about that.
Yeah, dude, died. Yeah.
Okay.
I was like, what the holy shit, bro? What? Like I hadn't worked with him yet, but like I see him in the Zoom call, and he's just never there again. And I was like, oh my god, and it just seemed to go over people's heads, man. It was just like, oh, that's sad, and then they just kind of like went back to work. I like spent like 2 hours in the car, and I was like, what am I doing with life? I need to just carpe diem or something, man.
Dude. That's scary.
It just hit me.
And did they tell you anything else?
No, dude, they just said he died.
Wow.
Yeah.
The guy, that's funny, because when I was first getting trained, I still have his contact in my phone. The guy that trained me died in a car accident.
Oh my God.
This was about 2 years ago.
Jesus,
but freaking brutal, yeah.
That's so crazy.
I mean, yeah, that was at the Elmhurst Marriott, I believe, where for a week when I was first getting promoted to the sales position, they like paid for my week stay in the hotel, even though it was only 15 minutes from home. It's just hilarious.
You got a week to yourself.
Yeah, dude.
Hotel action, treating like a king.
They covered the food and all that, so that was fun. But yeah, the guy that was working with us every day, Gabriel, like probably 6 months after that, yeah, my boss told us that he died. And my boss was out. My boss took I can't remember if it was either 2 full days or about 1.5 days where he's just like, guys, don't even try to reach me. Like, don't even try.
Death is real, man.
Yeah, it happens. It's brutal.
Damn.
But yeah, the sad part about the store position, right now, I see people as people. When I go to the houses, I really try to build a rapport and just hold a conversation where they can trust me. And I'll show them the stuff. I don't BS about anything. A lot of my coworkers, they'll have like an 1.5 hour long presentation where it's just trying to like butter them up, to the solution, to the price, to everything. For me, I just lay it all out right away. I'm like, all right, this is how many panels you need. It'll cost you $80 a month. Here's the benefits. Here's all the, here's why you should do it. And people like that honesty for sure. In contrast to, though, my view of people when I was in the store, you can't look at them as real people. It sounds so bad. But if you want to excel in the store, which I do not want to go back to, by the way, like I'm glad that I worked it and I'm out of it.
Yeah.
In a way, I'm also glad that that's what they generally do. If somebody wants to work in sales, very often they start them off in the store so that they can experience what it feels like for the RSAs, the reps that are in the stores on a daily basis.
Sure.
And I do like that idea that they do that, because now I definitely have respect for them that I wouldn't otherwise have. But when you're in the store all day and people are, just avoiding you, just pretend like you're not there, it's brutal. And so that's, for me, what helped me get through it was just seeing it like a game. Like, these are not real people. These are just passerbyers that are potential sales. And it sounds so bad.
Yeah.
It really does, because it takes away that human connection part of it. But that was the only way to stand there and succeed at the job for me.
I remember I called you one time looking for ideas to hook these people in, and you gave me just going to the middle and like back them in like they're like a truck or something and tell them to stop right there. I pulled it off a few times.
Really?
Yeah.
And they'd stop, right? A couple times?
Few more than normal.
Yeah.
Or I got crazy with it. I was fishing too. I would.
Yeah.
I did a little lasso action. I'm just kind of like trying to block them like I was a lineman or something. And they like it. It's just, I realized that, man, this is taking so much energy out of me, and it's just like, you can't keep it up. And one of my buddies next to me, or he would often work, his name was Zach, but he always just went with like a simple, like just like a solar, because he's like, man, I'm going to be here for 8 hours. I just got to get my numbers. Once I get him in, he's really good at talking. And,
really?
He looks professional.
And he was getting his numbers right?
Yeah, he was probably top 2.
Wow. And he's what, just going solar?
He was just like, solar. Like, that's what he would do. No, he goes, solar for the home. And people like that. I think bringing home in, I think that really changes things. Because then people are like, wait, I have a home.
I have a home.
I like that. Yeah. Solar.
See, my go-to every day was, have you looked into solar for your home yet? And it's like, if they say no, it's like, well then, perfect. Look at it.
No, you trick them a little bit. I've pulled that off too. And they're like, no, actually, and I did. Oh, bye. Okay.
Literally, yeah.
Oh, so funny, man.
So I get it, man. I get how it's brutal. I get how I would not want to go back to the store daily.
But it is admirable you pulled it off.
And only for 3 months. My friend, you never would have met him, but his name's Philip. He started only a couple months after I started, and he was stuck in the store for a year and a half.
Oh my God, dude.
And
go crazy.
Only because apparently you're not supposed to work in sales until you're 21, and my age got swept under the rug somehow. And for everyone after me, they wouldn't allow. Because I got promoted at 18, literally.
Oh my God.
So I've been in this for 3.5 years.
You started getting that kind of action.
Yeah. I was making six figures at 18.
How did that change your perspective on life as you you keep gaining wealth? How are you keeping yourself humble? How is it altering your points of view on the world?
Giving is huge, right? We talked about that. The other one that's big is don't go into debt. If you could do anything to keep yourself out of debt and just pay cash for things, that I feel like is huge. That's how say if I was financing, if I had credit card bills, if I had a loan on my car, all that stuff that I couldn't pay off, and then I lost my job, I'd be screwed. I'd go from living a great lifestyle, not really having money, but living nice, to I'm broke and I'm in debt and I owe people money and I don't have it. So that's something my parents hammered into my mindset was only buy what you have money for, what you can afford in the moment. And don't get swept under. because it's easy. Like once you start getting, I don't know, into credit card debt, you just want more, and you keep applying, you get new credit cards, they keep giving you stuff, and now your interest rate's like 30%. It's horrible.
Do you think that influence from your parents was that from their background in Russia a lot?
Huge.
How was the situation there? How did that shape them?
Well, I can tell you more about what it was there 25, 30 years ago, versus when they left. And I mean, it was full-on communism. Soviet Union was about to collapse at the time when they,
what year
they
is
left.
this, like?
My dad came here in 91, I believe.
Isn't that like
That's
the
literally
year it
the year.
collapsed?
Yep.
Oh my God, dude.
Yeah, and he was 18. He came here by himself with $50 and with no people he knew.
Oh my God.
All he knew is if he stayed there.
Did he speak English?
Zero. No.
Oh my God.
He tried learning on the train in Russia, actually. On the way to and from school, he'd be reading English words in a book.
Oh my
on
God,
repeat.
dude.
And he was supposed to go to the army, right? As all 18-year-olds do.
Yeah.
And he said the people he knew that were going to the army his age were all getting put on border patrol with, I believe it was Afghanistan or some other conflict they had at the time. And he said there were like 80-90% of them were not coming home. They were dying.
Oh my God.
And he's like, I don't even believe in communism. Why would I die for this? And he pulled a few strings. He got technically a work visa to come stay here temporarily. There was a guy from Moody Church, which is actually right down the street here, one of the biggest churches in the city, and the president of the whole church at the time, and Moody Bible Institute, which is a big college here, like one of the biggest Christian colleges in the country, which is like 4 seminary, 4 preachers and all that.
Sure.
And and the president at the time, Dr. Stoll, had came to that one church I told you about in Moscow to speak there.
No way.
And my dad made that connection. He got his phone number.
So he came straight to Chicago.
He came straight to Chicago.
Straight to Chicago.
And
Why
stayed
Chicago?
because this was the only connection he had. He knew no people here.
Oh my God.
So he lived with the president of Moody Bible Institute for about 3 months in his basement.
What? What was he doing?
You're going to love this. His first job was selling cookbooks door to door. He doesn't speak English. And he crushed it too. He did really well.
What did he do? Like hand signals and...
Yeah. He would leave. He'd like point to it. He'd leave a book he'd mostly go to businesses at the time, back when soliciting was not a thing. You know, and you go to most businesses now and it says no soliciting.
Wait, that's only recent?
And that's pretty recent, yeah.
I didn't know that.
And so he'd go in, he'd be like, hey guys, he knew only a few words. He'd be like, I leave this here, I come back, pick it up Friday. And it was like a Monday. And if you want to keep it, when I come back, if you like it, you buy it. And so he'd literally just drop off books on his route, go to a bunch of different places. And then in about 4 or 5 days, he'd come swing back around. And he'd go and he'd pick up all the books, and people wanted them. People like flipped through it at work. They're like, oh, I like these recipes, whatever.
Wow, that's genius.
It's before the internet. And they would just buy it.
Because they can get to it on their own time.
Yeah.
You know?
It wasn't pressured at that point. He's not a sales rep just standing right there. You get a whole week to just check out this book on the desk.
Yeah, and everyone's going to be like, oh, I don't want to do work, so let me flip through.
Yeah.
Let's make some lasagna tonight.
Yes,
you know?
exactly.
Wow.
And it worked. And he did that for a year or two. But that was his first job in the States.
And then what?
And then he sold roofs for a summer.
And then...
Which he has a story.
Oh.
Let me tell you about the roofs real quick. He went to South Side Chicago, in the ghetto. He'd drive around. I even have problems believing this, but my dad doesn't lie in that sense. So I don't think he made this up. But he'd drive around in his car, and he'd pick up homeless people, and he'd pay them $5 an hour to walk around the neighborhood, hanging up door signs with a phone number for his roofing company.
What?
And he'd have like 4 or 5 homeless guys in his car that he'd drop off at different streets and pick them up in a few hours, pay them off their $15, and then he'd get calls the next day from all these hundreds, if not thousands of flyers they hung up. Like, oh yeah, I need a new roof. And he'd come out and sell a roof.
Wow. He's innovative, man.
Yeah. So that's largely where I get my feel for sales. I feel like in modern day culture, nobody intends to go into sales. No. You just end up there when all else fails.
You go to sales.
When all else fails, you go to sales. Because it is a brutal job in many aspects. I feel very blessed with where I am. I hope to, stay at the company for a while. It's been about 3.5 years now. Mm-hmm. But a lot of people aren't as fortunate with their sales jobs, I guess. And my dad told me when I was first starting the sales job, he told me secretly, yeah, I wanted you to go to college and all that, but I did want you to work in sales. Because you do get that flexibility. You learn a ton. You learn how to talk to people. I mean, I feel like I can talk to adults better than I can even talk to people my age just because I'm with them all day.
Wow.
So it really builds, it just builds a huge aspect of your life.
Definitely. So your dad eventually finds your mother somehow?
Through a church Bible study, of course.
And then you end up in Glen Ellen?
Yeah.
A decade later or something?
Something like that. Yeah, literally.
And now we're here.
Now we're
right back.
And now they all moved to Florida.
Oh, they did?
Yep.
Wow.
That's why I'm here, because I was living at home up until last summer. I was making, between $100,000 and $200,000 living at home. And that was good, because I didn't spend money. I bought a lot of land in Florida, believe it or not. And that's where all my money went for 2.5 years.
Just buying land in Florida?
Buying land in Florida.
How many acres you got, man?
7, 8. Nothing crazy, but a bunch of different lots, different properties.
Oh, are you renting them out? Is that the goal,
not yet. So the goal is to either build on them. So they're empty lots. And so the goal is to either just sell them off, which we can already do for a pretty good profit, or build on them, because there's a lot of new construction where we bought. Mm-hmm. Florida, the statistic a few months ago was 900 people a day permanently moving to Florida.
No way.
Dead serious. That's insane. And this is where everyone's leaving too.
Yeah.
I mean, Illinois, Cali, and New York are the 3 biggest states where people are leaving.
Yeah.
So they're going south, and they're building there. My dad has probably triple the lots that I have in terms of land. My younger brother, my 15-year-old brother, was helping me find these deals because he was just going on the computer on the county website. He was literally making offers to people that he'd be able to find with land, and that's where I was buying that land from. And so
you go through the county website?
There's a county website in Sarasota, and you can see the owner on each lot of land. So what my brother would do, and what my dad would do a lot, would be Googling the name, trying to find their phone number. About 1 in 7, 1 in 8 that they search for, they actually find. They call them, and maybe 1 in 5 will actually pick up. But once you're talking to them, you're like, hey, do you own a lot on Libby Lane or whatever? They're like, yeah, I do. Owned it for 30 years. I'm like, cool. What do you think about selling it? It's like, well, the price is right. It's like, perfect. Well, I just bought a couple for around $10,000. Would you do around 10? And then when they do, well, it turns out over the last few years, these lots are worth around $22,000 now.
Wow.
There's a lot of people that don't even keep track of that. So we got some crazy good deals, which naturally I'm going to have to split the profit with my brother and dad, and I'm completely content doing that because they found the deals. Yeah. They were doing the searching. I was just kind of funding it.
They were doing the hard stuff. Man.
Yeah, they were. They were doing the hard stuff. I'm just sitting here doing my job. Yeah.
Dang, you got a lot going on for when he's 21, man.
I know, bro.
So, if I get this right, this is your first apartment.
It is.
Oh,
it is my
God.
first apartment, dude. I know.
Jesus Christ, bro. What?
I mean, dude, I almost want to talk about your life, though, because you lived in a van for 4 months.
I did.
And you never told me the details.
My van could fit in this right here, you know?
What kind of van was it?
It was so it started as my buddy's van, Rusty.
Okay.
So we got this van like the week before finals of freshman year of college.
Okay.
And we took it for a road trip for like 3,000 miles the weekend before finals. Went to the Grand Canyon, Yosemite, LA, Salt Lake City.
Wow.
Through the Salt Flats, Nevada, all the way back to Oregon.
What was the boringest place you visited?
The boringest place?
Yeah. Where do you not want to go again?
Las Vegas sucks. Don't go to Las Vegas unless
I don't plan on
you're
it.
going to
gamble. Right.
But like,
yeah.
I would always dread going through Las Vegas because it's in the desert, which is like, but when it's hot, it sucks.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's also a huge city, so you get like the pollution and grossness with that. It just doesn't do it for me. But anyways, we get this van. Rusty kind of has it. That's his go-to for a few years, and then he's ready to part ways. We come up with a kind of a deal, and then he gives it to me, and then now I have this van going around, and that was right when I was starting the job at Sunrun in the Bay Area. So I did my whole time at Sunrun, I was living out of the van.
Wow.
I was parking at this one spot that I found that was really, really great spot.
Can you show me some pictures?
Of the spot?
Oh, you can't because we're being filmed.
I can't pull them up,
It's okay.
But it's fine, but I don't want to say the name of it, just so for anybody out there, but it's down this one road in Marin County, and then you pull off to the side, and then there's just this weird little gulch that goes inland, and it goes for like a mile in, and then once you get back there, like there's mountains on each side.
Wow.
And then there's never anyone there, like not a single person, and there's a water spout too. So I would wake up in the morning, be like, oh, it's a beautiful day. It's
What, do you go for a run?
Yeah, there's 7 different trails to go run on. Any which way you wanted to go for a run. And then I'd get back, be like, oh, work's coming up. So I just go straight in. I just strip down, naked, spigot shower, feeling good, fill up all my waters and stuff, and then we're flying, man.
What was your commute like to work?
Like, it was 30 minutes
Not
probably, but it's never the time. It's just, in California, it's the gas thing, man. Jesus.
What were you paying a gallon?
Then was like $4.50.
Oh,
it's probably like $5.50 now, dude.
I've heard it's over 7 in areas now.
Jesus, dude. That's so gross, man.
That's insane.
Do you ever think about going out to California? Bigger market, more panels to be sold, more sun to be shone?
Let me tell you something. At Sunrun, we get paid per amount of panels that we sell. It doesn't affect the RSA structure,
Sure.
but it affects the sales. And so if I sell a bigger system, I get paid more. In California, you have so much sun, you're selling small systems. You don't need lots of panels.
Wow.
So the funny thing is, we're actually making significantly more per system here than we are there, for a couple of reasons. Partly, the biggest reason is because the systems are bigger. Out there, your typical system's about 15 to 17 panels. Out here, it's more like 20 to 25. So you're getting paid. We're actually on a very similar pay structure per panel, and just simply making more.
So this is the spot, essentially.
This is kind of the spot. Now, Illinois has a lot of state funding for solar, which makes it very profitable right now. To the point where I'm really considering, not too seriously yet, but I am considering starting my own company for solar here.
Run, son.
Run, son, yes. I didn't even mean to be wearing this or this.
No, you're bought out, man. You're bought out.
You know what? It's not like I'm paying money for the merch, so I'll just wear it. I am, believe it or not, I'm more cheap than you'd think. I really am. I do not spend much money on clothes at all.
Sure.
If Sunrun sends me stuff, I'm gonna wear it because I'm not paying for it.
Right?
Yeah. Dude, I want to know more about your van life because I have thought about doing something like that.
I mean, dude, you got the money. You could live bougie van life.
If I could do fully remote work for a little, which I can potentially try to pull off. How do you do that? All I have to do is schedule all of my own appointments to keep myself busy and not take appointments from the retail side. Because then I can do virtual appointments.
Oh, you just do all virtual?
Yeah, but if someone from Costco schedules me an appointment, I have to show up in person.
Do you prefer the in person, right?
Yes and no. Yes, you do get more sales. I do like the human interaction. The only downside of it is driving there and takes up time, and I do like waking up and just like pulling up my computer and doing an appointment.
Just nailing the appointment from bed.
From bed, literally. I do remember in COVID, the start of lockdowns and all that. I remember when Sunrun just told us, like, we're not going to houses anymore. You're going to have to learn how to sell over the phone on your computer. And at first I freaked out. I'm like, this is the end. Like, who's going to buy solar from someone they can only hear? I never did Zoom meetings. I don't know why. I just didn't want to, be on camera. I would always just do it on the phone, and I'd email them their design so they can see it from their side.
Okay.
And once you learn to talk to adults, which I really think you have the skills of doing that too, but once you get there to where you can build a rapport with an adult like that, like, they'll give you their social security number for the credit, like, after literally just a few minutes of talking to you. It's hilarious.
They trust you.
They trust you. I had one guy tell me straight up, I've never given my social over the phone out. I never do this, but I trust you, so here. He straight up told me that.
Wow.
Because you do need it to run the credit. And if you send them the link for them to fill everything out, it takes way too long, and then people start second guessing. And so I just ask them. I'm like, yeah, so perfect. This is your design. The first thing is a soft credit check. The only thing I need is your date of birth. What's that? They give it to me. I'm like, oh, and the social. We just give it to you. And then recently, they made it even easier for us. They started requiring just the last 4 of the social. So that's even easier to slide in.
How good you are at talking to adults is just practice. Because I don't think I've ever had the best relationship with adults in my life generally. Like, I'm much better, I find, at talking to kids. Like, adults, for whatever reason, I feel like programmed to just kind of, let's go quiet, get out of here kind of thing.
See, that's where we're different, yeah. And I don't know if it's all practice or if there's... But I think it is. I think if you put yourself in enough situations, especially my caddying background of being stuck with an adult for 4 hours on the course.
Wow, 4 hours.
Yeah.
With some old dude.
Like exactly. And they don't like you. They're just out there to play golf. But some of them are talkative. And so sometimes you are just talking the whole time. So you do that enough times and you get more comfortable with it. So now, like, if I have to talk to a client, it's like, I do have a way of kind of almost asserting some dominance while, like, unsuspectedly. They don't, to them, I feel like it's subconscious. They're just talking to a human. Mm-hmm. But on my side, I am kind of leading the conversation, and I'm showing them options, and I never, ever pressure anyone to do anything. As soon as you start pressuring someone to sign a 20-year contract, like they back off. It very rarely works in the first place. So all it is just getting them to be comfortable with you, what you got, getting them to like the product. They want to feel like everyone loves shopping in a sense. They want to feel like they're buying. They don't want to feel like they're being sold something. That's a big difference. As soon as there's like pressure, as soon as like, oh, I'm selling this to you, it's like, no, I want to do my research. But then when you present the facts to them, like this is the best option,
they need to come to it on their own.
They're like, yeah, I like that. Let's do it.
Yeah. I think in my past, like even as a kid, you'd like be shopping with your mom and you're like, oh, I want to go get this snack. And your mom's like, well, how much is it? And you'd look at it and it was $5.99. You'd always say $5.
Yep.
And you would lie. And then she would look at it, it's like, it's actually like $6. And then it's instantly turned off. Mm-hmm. But it's like, yeah, $5.99. And then she looks at it, it's $5.99. She's like, well, that's right. Okay, let's buy it, you know?
Honesty never hurts, man. You got to be honest, yeah.
So you were saying earlier that you like to do all of your clients in the South Side? Why is that?
The biggest reason is driving.
Driving.
Yeah, so there's 3 main roads out of the city. You got your 290 west to the suburbs. You got your 90 north. You got your 94 south. Now, the 90 north has 3 lanes. And it sometimes has 2 express lanes, but they're usually closed. Mm-hmm. The 290 to the suburbs has 3 lanes, period. That's it.
Sure.
The 94 south has 7 lanes to the south side. I kid you not.
You're flying.
You're just flying. I've been stuck in traffic maybe twice.
That's
there.
really nice.
Whereas,
everything.
Oh yeah, dude. Because like, I'll go 30 miles in 30 minutes. That's maybe exaggerating a little bit, but like you're going more than 60 an hour. I'm usually just going 80 an hour. Straight south, you'll get to your appointments. A lot of them are ghetto. And the way our solar program works, you're not necessarily buying the system, you're just leasing it. So we'll set it up for free if you qualify with credit. And we require a 650 credit score. And so if they're above 650, they're literally getting panels set up for free. They're not paying an electric bill anymore. They're paying a monthly rate for solar that's cheaper. So if they're paying $100 to ComEd previously, it's probably going to be around $75-$80 for solar. But you don't have to pay for the install.
That's big.
That's big. So, yeah, you go to the suburbs, people are very skeptical. They want to shop around. They want to get multiple quotes. They want to, like, look at all the options and then call you back in a few days, which usually means they're not going to do it. Which, don't get me wrong, I do have plenty of sales installs there, too. But you go to the south side, you get them to like you, they just do it, man. They don't think. They just do it. And I don't feel bad because I'm not scamming them. Like, I would go with the same exact solar program for my own house if I had one. 100%. 100%. It's not even questionable. It's not like I'm selling something I don't believe in. But it is, the reality of it is that it is easier to sell it to people that, $25 a month saved is more significant.
Yeah.
Than to someone that's, got a ton of money and doesn't care.
Yeah.
So it is easier to sell to poor people than rich people, which is kind of funny, but that's just the truth of it.
You were saying, so you live right next to Lake Michigan, and you're telling me all of these, that Lake Michigan has salmon in it? What?
We got king salmon, we got coho salmon. King salmon, by the way, is the most expensive salmon of any kind.
And it's in Lake Michigan?
And it's in Lake Michigan.
And it lives here.
Every year
We're
they
so
stock.
far from the ocean.
Yep. But the DNR, Department of Natural Resources, stocks them every year. They put in about 1 million king salmon per year across the lake.
What?
And that includes Wisconsin,
expensive?
Illinois, Indiana, Michigan. Super expensive.
Why do they do it?
For the fisheries. There's a lot of businesses there's no commercial fishing on Lake Michigan, so they're not taking these fish and selling them in the stores.
Okay.
But there's a lot of charters. There's a lot of guides that make their living by taking people out.
Oh, wow.
And it's just great for normal people like me. I mean, that's the biggest reason I moved to the city, was to be on the lake. And I'll show you some pictures of the big ones, because I didn't show you any big ones yet. I'll start with my biggest this year. This was my backyard.
What the hell, man?
That's a freaking king salmon right there.
That's a salmon? That looks like a sea monster, dude.
I know.
No.
They probably won't see, but
You just send it to me or
I'll
whatever.
send it to you.
Jesus, bro.
And that was
That thing is this big?
almost
5 feet long? 4 feet long?
about 4.
4 feet long?
About 4. Yep.
Did you eat it?
Not that one. So I do eat them. I like to eat the smaller ones. They taste better.
The big ones, you put it back? What'd you do?
I just throw them back. Yeah.
You threw back a 4.5 foot fish, basically.
So when it depends on what time of year you catch them.
Okay.
You catch them in the fall, they're here to spawn, and they literally stop eating. Like they're not eating anything for like 2 months, and they die. They literally just have sex and
just
die.
trying to die.
They're just spawning and dying. Yeah.
Oh.
You catch them early fall, late summer when they just start to show up. They're still silver. I'll show you one of my brother maybe. Or no, this is one I caught August 12th of this past year.
Oh, it's beautiful.
They're amazing. They're beautiful fish. That's a king salmon
That
too.
is in Lake Michigan.
Yeah.
What?
And
I thought we had like little shitty fish.
we have like nice
Like
salmon.
toxic,
Like
polluted.
nice salmon.
What?
And everyone, yes, let me address that because I do eat a lot of the salmon I catch right here. Which sounds like it would be a bad idea considering we live in Chicago and pollution and all that. Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
All the pollution goes into the Chicago River, which goes out of the lake, not into it.
Wow.
So most cities that have rivers, the river goes into the lake. And Chicago River actually used to do that. It used to go in, and they reversed the flow about 100 years ago.
How can you do that?
They freaking set up a barrier. They dug it through. I don't know what exactly they did, but they literally got the thing to go out of the lake instead of into it.
Jesus, bro.
And there is a scary amount of raw sewage pipes that connect to the Chicago River, which during rain, when you get huge thunderstorm or more rain than normal, there's no capacity for it, like literal poop water that goes right into the Chicago River. And if you're ever around Chinatown, and some days, especially after a thunderstorm, it'll smell bad.
Oh, God.
And the water's just brown. And that's literally what it is. It's scary. And it goes into the Des Plaines, and then into the Illinois River, then into the Mississippi.
And it
and then
pollutes the poor Mississippi.
Yep.
Poor Huck Finn, dude.
Huck Finn, a great book. That was my childhood book right there. Tom Sawyer and Huck
Dude,
Finn.
that's my dream, man.
Yeah, it's raft.
My dream is to start, you know the Prairie Path?
Of course.
You know the river that we go over on the bridge?
DuPage. Mm-hmm.
DuPage River. My dream, I want to build a makeshift raft,
Mm-hmm.
like wheel it out there, set it down, and then just go all the way to the Gulf.
And it's actually doable. You just got to hop over some dams a couple times, but other than that, you can do that because it all connects. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
That the water entering the Gulf of Mexico came from here. Probably only a few days prior. I mean, it's just flowing. It's just going.
Damn.
Let's do it.
Yeah?
You want to do that someday?
Yeah. Are you serious?
I honestly, I would be the type of guy to do that, like straight up. Like bring
It
a
would
fishing
take,
rod,
like,
a
it'd
week,
take,
2
no,
weeks.
I think it would take like a month at least, bro. Do we have to... What about we'd have to like we'd have to make sure our raft didn't break.
Well,
Think about everything that's gonna go wrong.
I mean, I don't want an inflatable raft.
No,
'cause
it's
that's
gotta be
sketchy.
made out of sticks that we find.
Shoot, bro. Kayaks are very reasonable in that sense. It's
So
gotta
you
be
want to
comfortable.
kayak it. It just feels a little bit less cool if you're in like something that's like purple, you know?
I'm gonna Google this. How long to go down Mississippi?
Do you think we could sleep while just like still drifting? Would it be so
On the-
dangerous?
If it's like the big,
barge just.
well,
comes
you
and kills
need to
us?
have a light at night to do it legally.
Okay.
Soon as the sun goes down, that's the thing on boats across the country. You need to have a one white light that sticks up, so you don't get hit by a boat.
Gotcha.
Obviously, there's life jackets, that kind of stuff you got to have on board. Because yeah, you're going down for a week or two, you're probably going to get stopped like a couple times.
Yeah.
So you don't want to be like ticketed off. 5 days and 2 weeks. Okay, it's going to take from the Mississippi River's source to its mouth in the Gulf of Mexico takes between 5 days and 2 weeks to get down.
Really?
Drifting, yep.
You're going fast then.
It's current. I mean, the current's going nonstop, 24 hours a day.
That starts in Minnesota too.
Yeah.
Wow, bro. That'd be so epic.
I would do that though.
You would take off work for 2 weeks to go.
I think I actually would. I think I would because it just depends.
When is this happening? Tell me.
Summer. Not now. Not in the cold.
You don't want to do it when it's...
No. No.
You don't want to, like, block it? Be like the Titanic, bro. Be like, no!
Dude,
Icebergs.
Sorry, but no.
The eagles are out right now, man. You can see some eagles.
There's a couple in Florida that my family's come across, yeah.
I was reading something that said that all these bird watchers are going to like Mississippi River along Iowa Illinois border because at the dams there's like 50, 100 eagles just hanging out.
Wow.
Because they migrate from Canada this time.
Wow. Like bald eagles?
Yeah, bald eagles. Migrate all the way from Canada down here because all the rivers up there are frozen. They come down here and there's just like this pool of fish just stuck and they can't go anywhere.
Well, you should see the lakefront right over here by DuSable Harbor. You know that giant ship that sits there? Right by there's a pocket of open water. I was ice fishing that harbor yesterday with a friend, literally with a tent and everything. We're catching perch. And there's this open water area with a lot of bait fish that'll just float up dead. There's probably 300 seagulls just circling around. It's like a cloud of seagulls.
Oh my God.
And when they see a shad swim up to the surface, little bait fish about that big, they just swoop down and grab it. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. And that brings the fish in, that brings everything in.
So it just helps the ecosystem?
Yeah. I mean, I was catching these big lake trout even just a few weeks ago, like very consistently, like right here.
And then you cook it and you eat it. How does that work? So you catch this fish, it's in the hook, you're outside, and then how does it become your sushi you put on your Instagram?
So, great question. What's a funny problem I first had to resolve was how do I, in a luxury building, get a dead fish this big from ground floor to my apartment?
So you use the stairs.
I figured out a way.
Okay.
I just put it in a garbage bag and stuff it into a backpack. That's it.
So it's like body parts. You can do it with the head, man.
Yeah, but that's the biggest reason I don't keep those big ones. That's one of the biggest reasons. They don't taste as good.
It's like a small child's body.
It's a small child's body, yeah.
Sir, why do you have a small child's body in that black bag? It's just a trout.
It's just a trout, don't worry. Because they're big. They get really big. So I'll keep the ones anywhere from like this size, about that, 2 feet. I try not to go too much over 2 feet. And I just stuff them, wrap them around in a garbage bag, throw that in my backpack, and I just go up. And then here, I always have extra cardboard from like packages and stuff that I keep. And because a cutting board's way too small for most of these fish.
Sure.
So I'll just lay out a giant slab of cardboard. I'll fillet them. I'll clean them, wash them.
You got like nice knives and stuff?
I don't go all out on my knives. I've been thinking about it though. I've been thinking about getting like a Japanese sushi knife for like $200.
Oh.
I've been thinking about that.
Where you could accidentally slice your whole hand?
Yeah.
That's no
more.
more.
Like a little sword, literally.
Yeah.
But I've just been doing these just normal $10, $15 knives. I keep them sharp though. So I sharpen them. I have a sharpener, and every time I cut fish, I sharpen them. So they're like...
Really?
Oh yeah, they're razor sharp.
Razor sharp.
Yeah, because cutting fish, it's really annoying if you have to saw through it. Mm-hmm. The cuts
Taste
don't...
bad?
Not so much the taste. They just don't come out clean. The texture, yeah. You get like this rigidy thing. Like I just want a clean fillet. Yeah, I want a clean... I'll show you a picture of a clean fillet.
Let me see a good clean fillet.
There's so much pride to a fisherman in a good clean fillet. I'm not even kidding. Yeah. Not the best example, but there's the first one I found. Just a nice orange slab of meat.
Nice orange slab. Is that a salmon?
Yeah, there's salmon right there. And I love the variety. The fact that there's 5 different types. Mm-hmm. And they're all a little different. They're all unique.
You taste the difference.
Sometimes, yes. yes. The taste, if you cook it without seasoning especially, or like just salt and pepper, you can taste the difference. There's a pretty one. Pretty fillet right there. Yeah.
That's a good time right there.
See? So, get these clean fillets.
Yeah.
If you want to make sushi out of them, I mix 50-50 salt and sugar, put it over, and I put it in the fridge overnight. And it kills the bacteria. I hope that it kills any potential parasites, because you're not supposed to eat raw fish. I've been doing it for years. I've never had a problem.
You're fine. You look great, man.
Thanks, bro.
Look like you've been in the gym a lot.
Little bit. So I'm not 20 minutes a day. I do my pull-ups. Yeah, I go hard. I do as many pull-ups as I can. Always max out. Oh, it's nothing crazy. Well, 20. I'll do 20 usually. That's solid. It's solid, right? It's nothing through the roof, but it's solid. Because, and then I eat salmon like every other day, dude.
And so that's it?
I think that's all there is to it. Yeah.
Except you kind of sucked at those stairs.
See, I haven't been doing cardio.
You gotta go for like a 4 mile run. Like
I know.
4 times a week. Man.
I know.
It's the key.
That's been on my mind, believe it or not.
I saw something where cardiovascular health. They were doing research on longevity, like human longevity and like age span, and they said that good cardiovascular health causes your likelihood of catching a disease at like age 80 to go down 5-fold.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like 5 times less.
Wow.
Diseases. Just by having good cardio.
Insane. And I believe it. I heard a very similar study where like 30 minutes a couple times a week of like really profound cardio. Mm-hmm. I don't even remember what it was, but it had to be similar. Yeah.
It changes everything.
It does. Jeez.
I think one of the biggest things for me is too, like even in the winter, like when you can go outside, and it doesn't even have to be running, it could be anything, and you go outside and you enjoy time outside, big help, and then also just like you conquer the outside, you don't be scared of it anymore.
Yep. Oh, 100%. Because of fishing, I'm outside every day.
And you're not even moving. That's gotta be horrifying.
Well, I am moving though, usually. My favorite, and what I've been doing mostly, is I've been going to this couple creeks in Indiana. They're spring fed, so the water's coming from underground.
Wow.
And they don't freeze over because of that. So the rivers around here are all iced up. Especially if you go north, it's all iced up. But you go to Indiana, there's a couple different spring-fed creeks that stay around 50 degrees or so.
Really? How does that work?
Because the water's just coming from the ground constantly. It never stops.
It never stops.
Yeah. Never
Is it
stops.
fresh water?
Of course,
Can you drink it?
You probably can. I haven't.
So like if apocalypse happens, we're going there.
We're going to Indiana. Literally.
I feel like a lot of people are going to be going to Indiana.
Yep. Because that's where, and the best part of it is, well, literally one of them is called Trail Creek because there's a trail along the creek.
Oh, nice.
And I'll fish it, so most of the creek is about a foot or two deep. And you got to find the spots that are like 4 or 5 feet deep, which might be 200-300 feet apart.
Okay.
But you get like the river doing a perfect little bend or something, and it'll carve out the bottom, bro. Music to a fisherman's ears right there. Yeah. Because that's where the salmon stack up now. They don't like being in the 1-2 foot of water, especially when it's cold. They love deeper. So
why?
They feel safer. I feel like it might be.
So you want to stick a hook where they feel safe.
Yes, exactly. I know, and then you drift. Whatever you're using, lures, little, we call them spawn sacks, literally.
Spawn sacks.
Literally. So it's salmon eggs tied up in a little net.
Okay.
And so it's a perfect little, it's like a marble size bait, and you put a hook through it, and you just toss it right in.
Toss it in.
And
they like that.
They do.
They like to eat their young.
They do. They're freaking weird fish, yeah.
They really?
Yeah. That's the best bait. The best bait, period, for salmon and steelhead.
So it'd be like, if I put like a little human on a fishing line, somebody would just come after it.
Probably try it. There's a lot of people here.
Honestly, if you hung a baby out of like a 50-story building,
it gets your attention.
It
gets your attention.
Right?
Yep. Mm-hmm. So
Genius,
what I was trying to get there is I do get a little bit of cardio in the winter.
Okay.
Because I will walk about 2-3 miles on average when I go out there. And that's only walking. It's not running. It's not real. But I'm wearing like my fishing bibs. It's like glorified snow pants. You're trudging through snow down there, and it does get your heart pumping a little bit. I gotta tell you something.
Yeah.
You're the perfect person for me to tell you this. last week I hitchhiked for the first time.
No way.
Yeah.
Yeah?
It was the best.
Yeah?
Have you ever hitchhiked?
Yes.
Have you?
Yes, I did once.
Nice.
Did once.
Nice.
What happened in yours?
Well, so I walked up this river about 3 miles.
No, twice I did. Okay.
Let's freaking go, dude. Most people have never.
I know, especially today.
Yeah, especially today. But yeah, so I hiked up this river for about 3 miles, and it was like, I mean, I was going through thorn bushes. Like, it was a brutal hike. And I was fishing. I caught nothing that day, just last week.
Demoralized.
It's horrible, yeah. But then I figured...
Worse. No food on the table tonight.
Yeah, but you know how... Yeah, that was bad. But you know how rivers, like, they squiggle around,
Yeah.
right? Well, if it's around 3 miles squiggling around, there happened to be a road that could take me all the way back, and it's only about 1.5 miles back. So I start walking. I'm like, I don't want to walk another 1.5 miles. I was tired, bro. I'm like, what if someone pulls over? I'm like, I don't think anyone will. But every car, I just stuck the thumbs up, bro. And I'd make eye contact. I felt like I was in the store, bro.
Back in sales.
Like, literally. And I would just do that, stick it up. And this one pickup truck passes. And I saw them look at me, but they kept driving. It was a guy, a lady, and then later I found out a little baby in the back, too.
Oh.
And I keep going. 3 minutes later, they turned around. They're coming the same way.
No way.
I stick my thumb up again. They pull over, bro.
Wow.
They saved me about 1 mile of walking at that point. Got to meet some really cool people. Just a guy, his wife. They're probably mid-20s, and they had a little 1-year-old just chilling in the back. They gave me the shotgun seat. I just threw my fishing rod in the back.
Oh, wow.
And they just pulled me up
You
to...
pulled on your, I can talk to adults. Yeah.
Little bit, you know, nothing crazy. But I'm like,
Did you sell a system?
so we're
By
not.
the way.
Nah, man, I was just happy to not have to walk all the way back.
There's 2 times that happened to me. The first one, I was in the Redwoods in California. This was in summer 2019.
Uh-huh.
And I was with Rusty. We were in the van.
Nice.
And the van, like, broke down. We were in this random town. And we wanted to get to the Redwoods. Like, we were 13 miles from, like, the start of the park or whatever. So we're like, dude, we're walking. So we start walking. You know, it takes 4 hours or whatever. And we get there. And we're like, dude, we're 4 hours of a walk along, like, a side of a highway back to the van that's broken down. And our van's supposed to be done at 5, and it's like 3:30, dude. Like, shit. So we're like, oh, what the hell? We're just chilling. We're like staring at these beautiful trees, right?
Yeah.
We go walk over, and just some woman and her dog, and they're playing like ball in like the creek, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like there's like a little like patch of like dry land inside the creek. Beautiful. We go. We start chatting her up, and then she's probably like 65, 70.
Mm-hmm.
Then we're like, oh man, how are we gonna get back? And we start kind of like going back, and then she's like, you know what, guys? You want to ride? She just hands us the ride. We go back, we catch her up. Her name is Ethel. The dog's name's Buster.
Freaking great.
Freaking great. She tells us about all these, like, she was growing up in Berkeley or something, and some kind of crazy life story, health stuff, car crash.
Wow.
Later, we get back to the van, we pick it up at 5 o'clock as they're closing the doors. Also, we've been stuck there another night. And then the second time, we're a little bit more determined, a little more sad, a little more like, what are we doing with life here? So I was in Phoenix, Arizona. I was living there at the time. This was...
By yourself?
I was with my buddy Emmett.
Okay.
And so it was February 2020.
He's not from the West.
Yes, he is from West.
I don't remember his face. I remember... Who was Emmett?
Long hair. He's a year older than us.
Okay.
Billings.
That's so familiar.
But
Yeah,
we were
I don't
there.
know if I saw him.
Yeah, we were there, and I was just like, nah, dude, I gotta get out of here. Like, it just, everything in Phoenix, I applied at like 35 places. I got nothing back from anyone. I'm like going, everything, I'm having no friends, I have no car. We're out like we got the place we lived was like way up north, where it was just, you know, old people and their kids. And we were living in this house of a 27-year-old attorney and her dog.
Wow.
And it was like, just like, what kind of, this is weird, right?
Yeah.
And it just, I didn't know anyone. Like, how am I, and I also have no way to get to young people, which live 15 miles away, and I had no car. I just had a bike. It's like, a 15-mile bike is an effort.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, you're putting work in.
And so I was like, you know what, this isn't it. I want to go to Oregon. So I was like, let's hitchhike. That was my goal.
All the way to Oregon?
That was my goal in the beginning, right? And so I start going. I'm like, you know, I'll probably not. I don't think I'm gonna get much action here. So I'll walk to I-10, which I-10 takes you to Los Angeles, and in Los Angeles you go straight north to Oregon, where a lot of my friends from college were. And so it's like I leave at like 4 o'clock or whatever, and start walking, and I walk like 16 miles, bro. And then I sleep.
Were you attempting to hitchhike while walking?
No, at this point I was just like, I'm walking. Just walking. I was waiting to get to the highway. For whatever reason I thought the highway, people would all be going that way. So I was like, I feel like people right now, they're just like in their neighborhood or whatever it is. So that was what it was in my mind. And then that night I pulled off, or like kind of parked myself off on this little like canal trail thing. So like in Phoenix, all the water comes through canals because they dry up in rivers. It's like concrete, and there's usually a trail next to it. And I was like in between that and some spring training and an MLB stadium, and I was just like chilling. That's where I went to sleep. Got super cold still because it was February, and it drops to like 45. 45 sleeping is not cozy.
Yeah.
Right?
Do you have a sleeping bag at least?
No, I was just like sweaters. It's like
really?
Yeah.
Damn.
And then I woke up early next morning. I'm like, let's get moving. We gotta warm up. Eventually, I get to the highway. I'm starting to follow the highway a little bit west. I start putting the thumb up more. Thumbs going up. Put on my best shirt. I'm like, I need to look presentable for people to come in. And I stand at the, I stand at this one corner for like an hour, and then I'm like, you know, let's just start vibing. I'm playing some music. I didn't have a phone at the time. Also, I just had.
Wait. You didn't have a phone?
No, it got stolen in Peru, I think, or something like that.
What?
So I started playing music off of a computer, and I was just like chilling, and then some old guy gets off the highway, because I was on the exit ramp, and then he's like, yo, get in, and I was like, wait, really? And hop in there, and he's like, how far are you going? I was like, oh, I'm trying to get to Oregon. He's like, wow. He was so excited, man. And then he takes me, he's like, well, as far as I can get you is the 202 or whatever it was. So we went like 10, 15 miles, which is much faster than walking. It takes 10, 15 minutes, right? He's like, yeah, I gotta go north now, but good luck, man. Drops me off on the side of the road. He's like, here, throws me $30.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, here you go. Have safe travels, man. Good luck with everything. Wow. And then sends off in a way. I'm not feeling good.
But you didn't even try to get him to pull over, did you?
Not really. Like, he was already wanted to kind of thing.
But you didn't, did you stick your thumb up?
I stuck the thumb up, like, after he started pulling over? Kind of, yeah. Like,
wow.
As my intention, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And so then I get to the next corner, and I put the thumb up a little bit. I'm like trying, and I'm like, you know what? I should make a sign, because if I make a sign, people know my intention, right? And I'm like, I'm trying to get to California or whatever the heck. Like, help me out, because like YouTubers do that shit, you know? Like it's like, yo, get me here. We're filming a YouTube or whatever the heck. I'm like, if you know the intention, there's a story behind. They're like, yo, let me help out, bro. So then I went to go to the Walmart because it's right next to it. And as I'm going to the Walmart, I get called like feeling from in here to go over to this RV. And this guy walks out of the RV. He's an older guy. Like
you knocked on it?
No, he walked out.
Okay.
He's like probably 50s, early 60s kind of thing. Older guy. He sees me, and I'm like, oh, how's it going? And he's like, hey. And then I was like, oh, nice RV, dude. That's pretty sweet. And he's like, yeah. And we start like chatting a little bit. And then eventually he brings me inside, and he's like, yeah, we stopped letting people in because we let some homeless guy in, and they stole everything. And they were like, I was like, oh shit, man. And he's like, yeah, so that's my partner, and there's a gay couple, and they're living in this RV. Yeah.
Okay.
And they're living in this RV, and he's like, by chance, are you gay? And I was like, no, I'm not gay, not gay. Not gay right now, for sure. But he's like, damn, I told you not to get the straight ones, man.
Oh my gosh.
And so I come back, or we're in this place, and now I'm getting life stories from everyone, or the two people there. So apparently there's also a third person that was with them. And this was just one of their friends, and his wife had died from cancer like a year or two ago. So he's in the shitter, right?
Uh-huh.
So he was working some odd job, and they were trying to sell some stuff, and they were going to try to get some gas and go to the next town or whatever it was. And then I started realizing that these people were like 3 incarnations of like my failed dreams. So
what?
Yes. So the first guy was he worked for Chase Bank, where my dad works at.
Yeah.
He was the one who converted their system from when the stock crash of 99, the dot-com bubble thing. He's the one that converted Chase's system from the old one to the new one in order so it didn't explode. And
gosh.
then they laid him off. And
And he didn't even get compensated.
No. So after that, went into the shitter. He was telling me before that he was like a near professional trail runner, and he was getting he would do these 100-mile races, and he'd be like 5th or 3rd or something. And that was like one of my dreams at the time, was like, I want to go do trail races. And then this other guy, the other person he was doing like film stuff, and he interviewed 2 presidents. He interviewed like Reagan and Clinton. He interviewed like Shaq or something, and like a few other athletes like in his times. And he was doing that, and for whatever reason, that just like kind of, I think it was a financial crisis or something of 2008, just kind of ended that. Both people had struggles with their families after they came out as gay.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of disowned them, and they're all alone. And
how old are these guys?
Like 50s, 60s.
That's insane, yeah.
Yeah, because that's how long they told them, when they're like 45, 50 kind of thing. Like one of them had a wife and kids, then realizes this. And then the third guy, he was in love with this woman, gets cancer, she dies, and he's just been broken ever since. And I was like, if I had like 3 things that were like really close to me, it would be like film, running, and like love or family.
Yeah.
And these are all 3.
Are you still single?
Or
are you single right now?
No, I'm dating right now.
Nice.
But I have 3. Those are like 3 things so close to me, and these are all versions of them that failed.
Wow.
And I was like, I gotta get out of here. I gotta get out of here.
So you just got a bad vibe right away.
I mean,
you didn't stay with them, did you? It wasn't a bad vibe.
It was they were good people.
How long were you with them?
Like 5 hours maybe.
Okay.
And so I was there. I was like, I thought about like, well, what if we just like fuck it around for a while, and then but then I was like, no, dude. I started to feel the energy, and I was like, I gotta get out of here. I went to the McDonald's across the street, and I called my grandpa, who lived like 80 miles the other side of Phoenix, basically. And he went and he picked me up, and he picks me up, and he's like, you were trying to get out of here, weren't you? And I was like, yeah. And then he starts telling me his life story, and we're sharing each other. And
wow.
Yeah.
What about, how's your relationship with your parents?
In high school, it was nearly inexistent.
Wow.
It's a lot better now, but like,
okay.
I wouldn't, there would be months where I wouldn't like speak with my father.
Wow.
And then there would be every interaction with my mother just seemed to end in us screaming at each other, or like getting kicked out.
Wow. So that definitely pushed you 100%. To get out.
And still with that, I think that's a lot of the reason why I have trouble with adults still in my life now, kind of thing. But since then, it's gotten so much better.
That's good.
Like I've so much.
Because you're living at home now, right?
Yeah, the last month I've been at home.
Nice.
Yeah. It's just so much more appreciation for them, and we might not always get along, but they take care of you, man. Like, you always have a place to go.
That's nice.
Right? Which is
that's nice.
something a lot of people don't have that.
That's true. Because for me, if everything just crashed and burned, I'm going to Florida.
Yeah,
they got a room
beach
for me.
vibes, man.
Gosh, yep. Well, wow, that's so cool, bro. Like, so how long were you out of the house total? Was this like one big trip, or was this a? Give me a timeline.
For the.
So when did you first move out, so to speak?
So I moved out for school in September.
And where did you go to school?
I went to Southern Oregon University.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the Oregon connection.
Gotcha.
I was there for a year, decided it wasn't it. I went to California with my buddy Rusty for a little bit. Then I was like, we gotta get back. I came back here for a summer, and got like my first like real job kind of thing. I had some money. Then I went to Peru. Then kind of ran out of money. Came back for Christmas. Then I went to Phoenix, and then the hitchhiking thing happened, and then I met. Then shortly after that, actually, though, I met a girl named Audrey, and she ended up giving me a ride to Oregon.
Oh wow!
So I got to Oregon. I was there in Oregon at Rusty's place till COVID. We're like, fuck this, in March 2020, and we just started driving around. We ended up in Big Bend National Park, and then we had like a bit of an existential crisis because everyone is telling us the world's about to explode. Like, this is when it was like scary. Like, we could just die. You know, like our parents were like, you gotta get safe or something. It's like, there's like 6 people within 100 miles of me right now.
This
you know,
is the
like
perfect
we're probably
place to
chilling.
be. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Rusty's like, you want to go to Illy? To Illy, as in Illinois. That's what he referred to it as. So we sent it, ended up there. I was in Illinois from, end of March until that fall. And then I left again with my friend Autumn and Charlie. And we took off, and we went on this, 11,000-mile road trip thing around. Ended up in Flagstaff, Arizona.
Yeah.
And Rusty had just moved there.
Yeah.
And so he was living there. We're stoked. I start going to school at Northern Arizona University kind of thing, and living on campus there. And then made some friends, met my then girlfriend, or my now girlfriend. Then we leave, go back home for a month, go back out to California, sun run, stuff, van life. Then it's Christmas, and now I'm back here.
What's next?
I think I want to stay here because here it feels like I can just focus really well. Like, there's no distraction for me as much because I don't have that many good friends here. Honestly, like in high school, a lot of my really close friends were all much older than me.
Yeah, I remember that because you were at their running level.
Yeah, so I was really close friends with them, and I was in such a developmental time in my life that I think my humor and what was cool and not really developed then. As they were teaching me the ways, and then I go back with the freshman class after they leave, and then it was like, wait, this is weird now. This is really it. And for whatever reason, I was, the kind of the new kid all of a sudden, even though I was still with the team, and because they had already bonded that whole freshman year, and then
that is harder, yeah.
And then I never really clicked. Never really clicked. I still love those guys, but I totally don't know if it was ever.
When's the last time you talked to Cameron Bennis?
You know what he is? He's dating my first girlfriend right now.
Oh my gosh! What, from West?
Yeah.
Who?
Who's she? Madeline Motes.
So familiar.
Her brother was one of the seniors on the team when I was a freshman that I would run with. Yeah. But no, I haven't. I think I might have seen him once over summer. He's still at North Central, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, Cam.
I freaking need to see who this
Talked to Augie a couple times.
Augie.
Yeah.
Carolyn Motes, you said?
Madeline,
shoot.
Yeah.
So.
She was
I remember her.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Wow. Crazy. Augie's in Montana.
Oh, look at this.
Oh, wow. Jesus, dude.
What was his coach's name? Why am I...
Frazier,
of course, Frazier.
Frazier
Yeah.
and Nuge.
Frazier.
That's awesome, man.
There was Teddy Borkowski?
Borkowski,
and his brother.
Yeah, Ted is, I think Ted's doing some school at Columbia, just right over there, right now. He's one of those guys you don't hear from for a while. Yeah. He's just like, where did Ted go?
Yeah.
But he's got a girlfriend.
Dude, you freaking lived so much. How was your mood most of the time? Did it I would assume there were times where it got depressing just being alone.
Yeah, 100%, dude. Definitely one of the lowest points was in Oregon in October, November last year. It's just, it gets to the point where it's like, well, this is supposed to be really fun or whatever, and then it gets cold.
And then it's not, right?
And then it's not it. And you're like, why is it not it? And then you start questioning it.
Were you working at that time?
No, I wasn't working.
So what was your day looking like?
So that was the problem, man. There wasn't like a thing, right?
See? Mm-hmm.
And you lose the thing, and then you start.
We were made to work, dude. I'm so convinced that like our human psychology, we just cannot function, cannot stay content or happy if we're not working
on something.
On something. If you're not bringing some sort of value to the marketplace in general, even regardless of how much they're paying you, you got to be doing something. Yeah. Something that has an effect. As soon as you're just not doing nothing, it's great for a week, a couple weeks, maybe a month.
That's bad.
And then I just can't see myself doing nothing. Like I can't see myself. I have this like goal where I want to like retire early, but I don't think I'm going to stop working. Because then it's just like not, I don't know how you'd be able to function.
Yeah.
Period.
It does. I think the past 2 weeks, I've been so focused on this podcasting thing. It's been like one of the most fulfilling points of my life, kind of thing. So I'm like,
that's amazing.
I wake up 6 a.m., go run, get back, and I just work.
That's amazing. Stuff. Can I try to give you some advice that I have no business giving?
Sure.
One of the biggest, easiest ways I feel like for you to blow up, because I mean, the real dream would be to have a successful podcast that you're getting paid for.
Sure.
You have sponsors,
yes.
You have ad revenue, that kind of stuff, right?
I can go anywhere in the world and podcast.
And just talk to people,
yes,
right?
100%.
That's the best.
Mm-hmm.
You got to get your stuff out there, right?
Yes.
And that's hard with how competitive it is,
sure.
Being that it's so easy to upload something, right? Like 5-year-old kids can make YouTube videos now. So what I would try to do, I hate TikTok, but I do have a TikTok. Do you have a TikTok account?
I don't. It's not like downloaded on my phone.
Okay, that's amazing because I usually don't have it downloaded, but I do right now. And I've followed people where I'll see them like, because it's all like, it's kind of weird. It's all like AI type stuff. If your video captures an audience or people are liking it more than they like other videos, it goes viral like that. It just goes, it gets big. You don't need a base, whereas YouTube takes years and years of work and persistence and losing money till you're making money. You don't just blow up on YouTube.
Yeah.
On TikTok, you post one video and you can blow up if it's the right video. And what I would do if I were you, I would take snippets from podcasts that are interesting, just 1-minute clips, 15, 30-second clips, post it where obviously that are entertaining to watch, but also where there's like some sort of value build going on. Yeah. And then obviously just link your YouTube channel through your TikTok. And because these videos, I kid you not, like there's probably snippets from our conversation today, maybe even about sales or something that people will find value in. Mm-hmm. But nobody wants to watch an hour-long podcast of someone they've never heard of or met.
Sure.
And for me, I do listen to podcasts here and there, but I'll only listen to them if I think I'll get something out of it.
Sure.
I don't like rambling. Even if it's engaging, I don't want to listen to rambling that's pointless. So what I'm kind of thinking you should do is get these like little 1-minute clips that have a purpose, and maybe have your podcasts focused on bringing some sort of value, because you're talking to people that have all these experiences.
Yes.
And I think you are doing that already. But then you post these clips that can very easily go viral, get millions of views. You link the podcast on your account. X amount of people will start watching that. Because I did see that with this one guy that just started making skits. Like his very first video he ever made popped up on my page. He had 0 following whatsoever. 0 followers, literally. He had like your typical Instagram account with a few hundred followers. He makes phenomenal content, has this video come on where it's just funny and engaging. It's less than a minute long. And that was about 4 or 5 months ago. He's got millions of followers now. Millions. Without the work that YouTube requires to get big. He's got his YouTube channel linked. I'm sure he's got, subscribers there too. And then the way you make it big is sponsors. It's all sponsors, I feel like. Either if you make your own product somehow, that's incredible. You get all the profit margin on that when you promote it. But when big companies come to you and they're like, hey, this would work great with what you're doing, and you start promoting it, and you're talking to your target audience that would value that, and that's how you make a living off of it. I think that's the fastest way you can make money on it, personally. That's what I see.
No, that definitely makes sense. People are trying it. Just gotta find the way to execute it in a way. Definitely.
So that's what I would do.
That's honestly, so I'm starting a clips channel.
Nice.
This is on YouTube. So
nice.
So I'm just gonna make like 2 to 20 minute whatever the vibe is. Right?
Yeah.
So like if this is a story that takes 20 minutes, then it takes 20 minutes. If it's a story that takes 2 minutes, then it takes 2 minutes.
Yep.
And then it's like, I can digest that. I can taste that.
Way easier to digest.
And then I'm like, well, I kind of enjoyed it. Let's see what the real thing's like, And I think that's gonna help. So by the time this is out, the clips will have been gone for like 2 or 3 weeks.
Let's go, bro.
Let's go.
I love it.
And then hopefully the TikTok, hopefully we get that started. And within
it's cringy. It is cringy, bro. I'll admit, but I've even posted like a couple stupid clips of me cleaning a fish that flops when you start cleaning it because the nerves glitch or whatever.
Oh,
thing got 60,000 views.
Jesus.
I have no business getting 60,000 views.
Yeah, 60,000 humans were just like,
whoa. And they were engaging, they were commenting, they were liking it. Like, it's crazy how much it costs to pay for advertising, but then you post something engaging that people feel some sort of emotion when watching it, and they share it, they promote it, they like it.
They do it themselves.
Yeah, they do it themselves. And then the algorithm of the way TikTok works is it'll immediately promote a video to more people if a certain amount of people find it engaging. If they leave comments, if they like it, if they rewatch it. I've heard if a video gets rewatched 2 or 3 times in a row, it blows up. If you can get something that engaging that's only a few seconds long, potentially, it'll blow up. You'll get a ton of traffic on your account. You have your Instagram and your YouTube linked right there. And I think that's the fastest way. Instagram Reels are great too. I don't think they go as viral on average though.
Okay.
But I would really try to focus on your like 1 minute, less than 1 minute long clips.
Okay.
Just to get people in. I have a feeling I've posted a couple stupid videos that I've gotten like between 10 and that one that was 60,000 views for nothing.
It could work, man.
It could work. It doesn't hurt trying.
So, this was in maybe August. August of this year. We can wrap this up quick soon.
Now let's give it another 15 minutes.
Okay.
We'll keep it under 2.
But August of this year, I get these visions, right?
Okay.
These weird visions.
Wow.
Something else, right? And in these visions, I see moments that then happen in the future.
Oh gosh.
Like I'm telling you,
And
I'm
this
not
happened?
bullshitting you. I'm not bullshitting you. Like, it happens. I notice it when I feel like I'm doing something right. All of a sudden, I'll be in this situation and I'll be like, I had a dream of this 6 months ago. And it's just like, holy shit, right?
Wow.
And one of these visions that I had was February of next year, because it was in August. I'm going to be in some really well-off situation. It's what I felt. And I got to the end of December of this year, and I was in the shithole, right?
Huh.
I was feeling so, I was like, did I bullshit myself? And then I found doing this podcast and waking up in the morning, and I found like getting my shit together.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, whoa, maybe it's about to happen. I just gotta keep doing the thing.
See, you gotta stay persistent.
Gotta keep doing the thing. I think it's gonna work.
And you gotta be smart
way.
about it. You gotta promote it the right ways.
Yeah.
Because the sad reality of this cruel world is that hard work does not automatically get you success.
Yes.
It really doesn't. Hard work is probably more than half of it, but a huge part of it is how you promote it, how smart you are with how hard you work. Is what it comes down to. So you get this content because you're doing everything right, I think. It just is amazing. And who am I to say that? I've never podcasted before. But something like this, where you eventually start talking to really interesting people, like, wow, when you start providing content that people love listening to, the way you ask questions, by the way, I think is flawless. Like, you keep this conversation going.
Thank you.
I can't talk to someone for 2 hours, this smoothly. I'm genuinely impressed. It's amazing. The only exception for me is if I'm trying to make a sale. But you really know how to ask the questions that bring out value and bring out like the interesting stuff about someone's life experiences and what they know. So, dude, I think you could the hardest part is getting this in front of people. Because there's a lot of people that would listen to these podcasts if they provide value for them.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, another thing that comes to mind, I kind of mentioned, but when you focus on a podcast that has some sort of overarching topic or goal, because like when I'm scrolling through Joe Rogan's podcast, I don't listen to every single one. No way. He posts one like one a day, and they're 3 hours long. But I'll be looking through his recent ones. It's like, oh, this guy is a doctor in this, and he has this to say about that. I'm like, I'll listen to that for 3 hours if it's engaging. If he asks the right
100%.
questions. So you market it to where there is a theme, maybe.
I was, not to interrupt you, but I was honestly like a day or two ago, I was thinking about this, like, why do I listen to a podcast? And it was the same reason. I want value.
Yeah.
It's like, how do I direct this conversation to where people can listen to this and feel like they're learning something?
Yep, exactly.
Because that's all people want.
Exactly. You don't feel good consuming something you don't learn from or grow from at all.
Yes.
But when it's engaging and you're learning, that's when someone will sit down for 3 hours, no problem. Or they're doing something, they're driving. Like for me, I'm fishing, I'm listening to podcasts.
Sure.
I love it. Music gets boring after a certain level of time. So you keep switching it up. You're learning. You
feel like I'm doing something good for me, and you're consuming podcasts. Yeah, so I think that's it. Is right now, to be honest, I'm trying to do the rounds with as many people as within my circle. Right?
Yep.
And so then every podcast, every time I can get, I'm like, do you know anyone else? Right? Like I'm trying to expand that circle because at least 5 people that are interesting.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and maybe one of them would want to sit down.
Yeah.
Have a little combo.
Yeah. Because it's fun.
Tell their life.
Here's the thing. Talking about yourself is fun.
No, it is.
Everyone loves that. I don't know anybody who doesn't.
Sure.
So yeah, you talk to people that have value to add. I mean, I have experiences other people haven't had, and so do you, and so do other people.
Sure. And people can take this and grow with their life and go work for Sunrun.
See, exactly.
No, but one thing I found is really interesting is, people who are consuming my stuff, up until the point we're making this, haven't really seen the dichotomy of it all, but once you get to we're episode 14, the different kind of conversation I have with each person is so fascinating because each one is a different version of myself and them combined in like 2 hours, right? So there's a couple podcasts that are just off the walls, like weird, because the people I'm with are weird and I know them really well. But then some people, like I interviewed Ethan Seprin.
Which Ethan?
The guy going to the Olympics, speed skater.
Seprin, yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So him, or the one came out today, it was with a guy at med school at UIC.
Wow.
So he's one of the, do you know Manib?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's with Manib.
Wow.
Yeah, so I think the first hour, or not the first hour, but the first like 30 minutes, it was kind of surface level thing.
Okay.
And then by the last half hour, we were like really getting to like things that are relevant to medical field today. And I was like, this is engaging.
And people that are interested in that field would love that,
and
right?
that's when I was like, I need to make clips because people are going to get bored for the first 30 minutes because it's personal. It's like us catching up. But then the last 30 minutes, I'd watch a video about some guy talking about vaccines or like new drugs that are coming out or how the medical field is right now. And so like, wow, I need to make this 5 minutes, put it somewhere else, and then people could watch.
Yeah. Are you vaccinated?
Am I vaccinated?
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to disclose my vaccination.
You don't have to. You don't have to. No, it's fine.
Are you?
I'm not.
How do you feel about that?
Hasn't affected my life too much yet. I don't know. I don't plan on it. I want to see how long I can go. I definitely have a little bit of conspiracy theorist mentality going on.
Okay, let me hear it. I want to let's get it going.
Well, speaking of podcasts, I mean, Joe Rogan did one that's being taken off of YouTube every time someone posts a clip of it. Was with Dr. Robert Malone, who is the inventor of RNA vaccine technology.
Really?
Literally. Invented it, holds 9 patents on the technology, and talks about it for 3 hours.
Oh, that's fascinating.
And it's eye-opening. He knows this stuff better than anyone in the world.
Yes.
He did get vaccinated himself.
Okay.
And then still caught COVID right after.
It's weird like that.
It's just weird, right? He's been infected twice, actually, himself. But he thinks that the fact that it's being pushed on children in the 5, especially sub-18, who are at literally no risk.
Yeah.
He has studies showing, that you're 6 times more likely as a young male boy to get mitochondritis or whatever.
Myocarditis.
Yes, that.
There you go.
From, with heart problems or with blood clots. You're more likely to be hospitalized for that, based on real data, than you are to be hospitalized for COVID.
Yeah.
And it's a factor of 6, according to several studies they did. And the fact that it's being mandated, I don't know if you saw a clip I saw on social media the other day. A 9-year-old girl in New York City was dragged out by police from a restaurant for not having a vax card.
What?
Literally. Or no, it was either 9 or 5. You could find it.
Good God, dude.
Like, oh my gosh. So my parents, coming from a very socialist and communist background, they're scared.
They want none of it?
They want absolutely none of it. When they see the government, first of all, paying for everything and giving handouts and incentivizing for it. And now you look at, I don't know if you heard a couple weeks ago, the Bulls couldn't play because half of their team was sick with COVID. Well, guess what? 100% of their team is vaccinated. Every single Bulls player is.
I'm like, what is that, right?
What is that?
What is that? People don't want to acknowledge that. People don't. Why? Why can't we be like, yo, this vaccine, it has some kind of help in keeping like severity of COVID down. Like you're probably less likely to die.
And the studies do show that it's a little less likely to die from COVID.
Get really intense COVID. but it's not doing almost anything against getting it.
It's not
right?
doing much at all.
Dude, how do we get, what are we at? Like 70% vaccination
Yep.
rate? Yet
It's
in
the
the
worst.
past month we get 100 million people, or not 100, but like 30 million people with COVID in the last month or whatever it is.
Yeah, including my whole family besides me for some reason. It was so random.
Yeah, we were at a Christmas party. It's the 23rd of December. 2 days later, a girl comes down with COVID. And then over the next coming week, 15 of the 23 people get COVID.
Oh my gosh. And let me guess, most of them were probably
I
vaccinated.
think almost all of them were. And I didn't get COVID. And I think it's because I had COVID in January.
Yeah.
And I got me antibodies.
Yeah, right? Exactly. They work.
They do.
They work.
I think that's part of the thing that's so crazy is us making something up as an imitation for something that's real is not as good. We can acknowledge that. Like if I told you, hey buddy, would you rather have a prosthetic arm or the one on your body right now?
That's the best example I've heard.
What would you say?
Oh, it's so obvious.
It's so obvious, right?
Natural immunity just sounds better to begin with. It's natural. You've lived through. Your body knows how to identify, and I've heard it's also around 6 or 7 times more effective than the vaccine immunity you get.
And then I think one of the other things about the vaccine is like this huge wave we're going through right now is because the vaccine efficacy just dies out after 6 months. It just starts to, and then so theoretically, we're going to be booster 4. Booster 5, Booster 6.
Israel's
Booster
on
7,
4 right now.
Booster 8.
Yep.
Who's going to make all that money? Pfizer, Moderna, Biotech.
It's the best sales strategy I've ever heard
of all time.
Government
they don't
pays
pay for anything.
Yep.
Don't pay. No startup cost.
Yep.
No advertising.
Yep.
No repercussions if anything happens.
And you don't have to sell it to consumers. You give it away. You incentivize. I mean, in Chicago schools, you get as a child, you get a $100 Visa card if you get vaxxed.
What?
Yes.
No.
Children in this city are being incentivized with a $100 Visa card.
That's
if
weird.
the school's handing that out,
first
of all, run.
No.
First of all, run. But second of all, what's the intention and how much are these companies making off the government to spew it out? And why would they not, even if they, I don't know if it was intentional or not, why would they not design a vaccine that goes bad after 6 months so they could sell another one and another one?
Exactly, bro.
Because they're definitely making, I would guess, personally, it's in the low thousands per dose, per shot that Pfizer's able to make on this. And they don't have to sell it to anyone. They don't have to sell it to insurance even.
Do they just sell it to the government?
The government's paying for it. It's not free. How can they afford?
There's no to consumer market. It's literally just wholesale.
Correct.
And then the government does every bit of distribution.
Yep.
And everyone that's a bitch boy of the government does the rest, And it keeps going down.
Have you seen billboards yet with like get vaccinated billboards?
Yes.
Who's paying for that? I called one of these billboards.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking about what if I do like a solar ad? I literally considered it. Bro, you're paying around $3,000 a month to have your billboard up. Who's paying this $3,000?
Who's running the website?
Who's running the website? Who's
answering the phone?
Dude, it's sketchy, man.
Who's paying the guy answering the phone? Like what?
And you know what? I wouldn't even be mad if there wasn't talk of mandates and if there weren't mandates.
Yes.
So I believe if you want to get vaccinated, especially older people, it still makes sense. There's proof that vaccines do help to some extent. And I personally don't think it's much at all. I've seen like charts and diagrams of like the amount of vaccinated people in hospitals. And literally, this one study came out in England, in the UK. And literally, it was still majority vaccinated people hospitalized. Now, you got to compare that to percentage of population.
Probably
if that's around 75, 80%.
So.
And it's around 60% are hospitalized after being vaccinated with COVID.
So it's a little bit.
It's a little bit.
But it's not a lot of it.
It's not a lot of it. It's not, you get this vaccine or you're not allowed in our business.
That is the crazy. When the Chicago thing came out, I was like, what the hell?
The restaurant I was at yesterday, I slid through. I lied to them. I had the fake, not vaccine card.
Done. You're done.
I'm done, bro.
The police are coming for you.
Shoot.
CDC,
But no, I had the...
Fauci in your house.
See, but I had like the negative test crap and some...
Okay.
Like a religious exemption I showed them. They let me in.
Mm-hmm.
The lady was like, guys, yeah, we got to take this seriously. We've been checked twice already. You know what the fine is for letting someone in without a vax card?
What?
10 grand to these small businesses. And she said they've already been undercover checked twice for mandating it.
What?
So a little
The
mom and...
city's just using this to make money.
This little all these little mom and pop shops. I mean, it's not like these businesses are like government entities. These are normal people that have a restaurant that live on that income.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, the lady forgets to check a vaccine card, and you're getting fined 10 grand as a business.
Oh my God, that puts you under.
That puts you under. A lot of these businesses would literally go out of business.
How much are you making as a small business? You know, your profit margin's not much, bro.
With all the expenses and everything, yeah.
The taxes,
taxes,
the property taxes here.
It's insane for selling a sandwich. Like 10 grand puts you under, and so they have to take it seriously. It's a whole monopoly thing, as my parents would say. It's the start of like communism type stuff.
Wow. And your parents, they've been there, man. They've lived. That was their childhood. Mm-hmm. They grew up in the end of the Cold War.
Literally, yeah.
Why
they
don't
fled.
we listen to that at all?
Yeah. Why is anybody with those opinions immediately just blocked out?
Shunned off of everything because
why is all media, dude? Why is
because they make so much money by keeping people scared.
Yep.
So much money. And Trump's gone. What are they gonna do?
See, exactly. I mean, I think it's relatively obvious that like almost all media outlets, all tied with the government, with Pfizer, all big tech, and all large big pharma or whatever. Mm-hmm. It looks like they're all on the same page with everything. Like, why is Facebook saying, like, blasting every time you open it, get vaccinated? Why is Instagram all the time have these ads?
Who's paying it?
Who's paying it? I have a suspicion.
Is Pfizer giving?
So that's my conspiracy theory, is that there's more going around
there's so much more
than we think. Because there's no other... even if you look at it on a conservative and liberal angle, why is all of big tech liberal? Why isn't it 50-50? Why isn't there choice in that market to where if you're big tech, if you're big social media, whatever, why is it always give vaccine? I'm nothing against liberals. I'm very moderate myself.
Sure.
But there is way too much skew to one end.
So much. And then the other is skewed way to the other.
Yep. And now you've got two sides that are fighting, and there's division. And I could rant about that forever, but one thing I just don't understand. People just don't see it. They rolled out one vaccine, then two, then three. And then now are we looking for 4? Oh, I just saw it on the news the other day. It's like, here's the efficacy for the 4th booster, like the 4th shot, and all these companies, CNN, everything.
Guys, can we think about this one for a second?
Is it working?
4? We need 4.
So 3 provides a little bit.
How much is 4 going to do? How much is 5?
Did you see the clip of the CEO of Pfizer talking about the 4th booster?
No.
He just announced, it was on the news, it was on like CBS or something weird. He did like a 10-minute interview where he talked about like Omicron and how much these vaccines are doing. And he admitted word for word 2 vaccines, so you're double vaccinated from the start, is little to no protection. He said it outright. Then he says a booster is some protection. And he says, but we have a Omicron-specific booster coming in March. And that's going to be the best. That's literally what he said. I could show you. CEO of Pfizer just admitted that, yeah, you're vaccinated 2 shots.
And people buy it.
People buy it.
Because it's probably true. The vaccine is not doing as much as it was intended to
Oh,
do.
absolutely.
Maybe they intended to do it, whatever it was. It's not doing that much.
Mm-hmm.
And now this guy is literally, this is business 101.
Mm-hmm.
He's creating a demand for his product, and the demand is based out of a scary thing called fear.
Yep. Oh,
which
yeah.
is unbridled. There's not much in this world that can sell more than fear.
Right. Once you're scared, you're giving up anything.
You give up it all.
So what that one guy, that doctor I was telling you about, Robert Malone, inventor of the technology, and this other one he had, who's literally the most published cardiovascular doctor in the world. I forgot his name, but I listened to his podcast as well, also on Joe Rogan. And they both... McCullough, yes. He was on Joe Rogan too. And they both referred to something known as mass formation psychosis, which they are stating takes place after you have a period of time where, first of all, there's not nearly as much human interaction. You're locked up, you're isolated, you're quarantined. Mm-hmm. You start getting scared. There's a whole level of fear involved. And then there is a certain amount of the population, usually around a third of the population, that will do absolutely anything that Dr. Fauci tells them to do, or absolutely anything that the media tells them, who they trust, their news source, their CNN or whatever. If they say go get 15 boosters in 2 weeks, they'll do it. And the crazy part is the day after that podcast came out, mass formation psychosis was the most Googled result on the internet. Because 50 million people saw that second one with the Malone one. It's a good 50 million on a 3-hour podcast.
Oh my God.
YouTube is banning the clips. You can't find it on YouTube anymore. Dr. Robert Malone, Twitter kicked him off, permanently banned his account.
Guys, if you don't recognize that it's censorship of any idea, if the idea is complete rat shit, right? Yeah. Which it's probably not, because these people know what they're doing. They've spent their entire lives dedicated to this. Mm-hmm. They invented the shit, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And if someone with a lot of influence, a lot of power over you is censoring to the point where you will not receive that information, there's a problem. There's a big, big problem.
This stuff is insane. You Google this, you Google his name, and
Peter Malone?
Robert Malone.
Or Robert Malone.
Wow, this is actually different from what it was 2 weeks ago. Put it back. No, this is actually progress now. 2 weeks ago, you Googled his name. Every single headline was anti-vax scientist, blah, 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 yada, yada, spreads misinformation. Look, this is the first one right now. How Robert Malone, vaccine scientist spreading misinformation, was embraced by...
So he made it, guys.
He made it. He knows more about it. The original one.
The original one. Mm-hmm. How long, could you remember how long that was?
20, 30 years ago.
So he made the original one.
And it's the same technology today.
Same technology. That's the reason why it rolled out in 9 months. And he's saying that it doesn't matter that it rolled out in 9 months because it was already being made. He did it. And what's his point? What's he saying?
He's saying that the fact that we're mandating this, especially on kids, and anything to do with mandating this is incredibly illegal, first of all.
Because it's not approved.
It's not even entirely approved. But even then, I think there's enough, funny business going on to where they can approve it and it's not actually safe. I mean...
Manib was telling me that the FDA recently approved this Alzheimer's drug that was about to roll out, but the idea of the drug is that there's little proteins that form in your brain amongst people that have Alzheimer's.
Okay.
But there's no science that proves that those proteins are what causes Alzheimer's. They're just there. And so the drug was created to get rid of those proteins. And it successfully did it for the most part. And so it was proven to be, have results in that way. But it was not proven to have results in actually helping Alzheimer's in any way. But the FDA passed it. And so all of the medical field was outraged. This is ridiculous. There's absolutely no reason this drug should be passed because it doesn't actually, because he said the clinical result is different than the biological result is different than the clinical result. Because if you did it biologically, his example is you take an aspirin, it's gonna make you not have blood clots and you won't have a heart attack or whatever. But clinically, for the actual person, there's gonna be side effects to every single thing you do. And taking something that you don't need is usually really bad because everything has side effects.
Yeah.
Everything.
Oh, you're changing your body forever.
You're changing it. That's why, I try to avoid almost any kind of drug in any way. Like anything that is made by a human, guys, it's just not as good as anything made by nature. Right?
100%.
100%.
And I would say that God designed it best to begin with,
Sure,
right?
you could say that also.
Right?
Yeah.
It makes sense. He's smarter than we are. If he created our brains, well, how are we even thinking? Like, that's insane. But freaking crazy.
Well,
but frick, we will have to wrap this up.
Yeah,
even
we've gone over 2 hours, I think.
Freaking loving this.
So,
2 hours, 8 minutes, baby.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Andy Sokolov. Thanks for coming on. It was a pleasure. Anytime we can chat it up.
100%.
It's great.
We'll be back.
Sweet. Thanks, guys.